Stop trying to quit porn. If you're struggling with breaking free from a pornography addiction, you have to stop telling yourself that you're trying to quit. You have to stop looking for ways to stop watching porn. These are ineffective solutions. These are ineffective approaches. And the fact that you've been trying this way for years should be a revelation that something in your approach is not working. Now, I'm not telling you to keep watching, and I'm going to break down what I mean in today's episode about how to break free. But we have to stop saying that we are trying to quit. Before I go too deep, though, guys, I'm going to remind you who we are and what we do here, just in case this is your first time tuning into the podcast. My name is Coach Frank Rich, founder of Rebuilt Recovery, host of the Rebuilt Man podcast. And for the last 6 years, I've walked in freedom from pornography. I broke the chains of a pornography addiction on February 14th, 2019. And about a year or so later, after countless men reaching out and asking for help, I made it my purpose and my mission to help other men get clear on the path to freedom, but more importantly, create a framework, a community, and real support accountability to help those men in creating the freedom that they ultimately deserve. So if you're something that you're looking for help with, I want you to stick around till the end of today's episode. I'm going to share with you a special invitation to be a part of what we're building and creating here at the Rebuilt Man. But when I say stop saying that you're trying to quit, we have to understand the words that we speak and the power that those words carry in terms of how it creates our identity, in terms of how it creates how we see the world, how we see opportunities, and how we see challenges. You know, we talk a lot about rebuilt recovery, the power of identity transformation. It is my belief that all successful recovery is recruited through an identity transformation. All successful recovery requires an identity transformation. And what this means is that there are parts of you within right now that want to watch porn. As much as you can rationally and logically tell yourself that it isn't something that you want to do, there is something living inside of you. Call it the addiction, call it patterns of behavior, call it trauma, call it inability to process and regulate emotions, whatever it is, there's a part of you that wants it around. And that's why we continue to go back to it. And that's why saying I'm trying to quit isn't an effective strategy, because you're not addressing the heart of the issue. You're not addressing the root of the issue. You know, I started coaching men back in 2020. There were a handful of guys that were doing this level of work. Many of them I've partnered with, we've collaborated with. I brought so many of my industry colleagues onto the podcast to elevate them, to share their stories, to share what is and isn't working. There's been an influx of quote unquote life coaches. There's been an influx of quote unquote coaches helping other men, men helping other men, females helping other men. Some of them I think are doing great work. Some of them are probably too early on in their own journey to maybe successfully help guys. And some of them I see it as they saw an opportunity. There was a timing. I think the porn industry, the porn addiction recovery industry is a massive blue ocean. I think that we are just in the early stages of men really waking up and seeking out and needing help. But one thing is consistent in every single person that you speak to, that you listen to, that you follow, that tries to help men in breaking the chains, is they talk about getting to the roots of the issue, right? They'll use different language about how they do it. There's different frameworks, there's different approaches. We've recorded dozens of podcasts specifically on addressing the root or the heart of the issue. I'm going to simplify this here for you. The root of your issue is there's a part of you that wants to look at pornography. That's it. It's as simple as that. Now, what are the drivers of that root? That's a whole different conversation. But you look at porn right now because it solves a problem within your life. And saying you're trying to quit without addressing what that problem is the reason why you can only go 7 days, the reason why you can only go 30 days, the reason why you can white knuckle yourself to 3 months, 6 months, a year, but then you fall back into the same old pattern. You see, our identity, how we see ourselves, the language that we use to describe ourselves, shapes our entire reality. Our identity shapes how we perceive the responses that people give to us. Our identity shapes the reality of how we see confrontation, of how we see opportunities, of how we see struggle, of how we see relapse. Your entire worldview is predicated on your identity, how you see yourself, the words that you use to label yourself. And what you don't understand is when you say you're trying to quit, you are immediately attaching the identity of a struggling addict to yourself. I'm trying to quit means that I want the thing, but I'm not going to, or I'm going to try to not act out on it. I spent a decade plus in the health and fitness industry. Helped a lot of people change their bodies. I helped a lot of people pack on loads of muscle. I've helped a lot of people drop enormous amounts of body fat. I've taken a handful of people to push their body to the physical limit, competing in bodybuilding stages, various forms of athletic competition. A person that is struggling with losing weight, they can't control what they do. They don't have the discipline to go to the gym. When you hear these people speak, the ones that succeed at transforming their bodies, they don't say, I'm trying to stop being fat. They say, I want to be fit. A man that builds muscle doesn't say, I want to stop being scrawny, and weak. He says, I want to be jacked. Somebody that struggled financially growing up, maybe they were middle class, maybe they were lower class, maybe they were growing up in poverty. They don't want to stop being poor. They want to become wealthy. Instead of stop watching porn, become free. Become a free man. You see, the approaches that we take are probably going to be the same, but the belief within, how our subconscious takes over, the actions that we take and the follow through and the hope that they will work changes the minute we change the language. When we say we're trying to quit something, we are giving the power over to that thing. Commit to becoming the man that doesn't want it, that doesn't need it, that doesn't desire it. Instead of stopping being an addict, become a free man. Instead of having to deal with temptations, create the way that those temptations trigger you. Instead of using porn as an outlet, create a life that you don't want to escape from. You have to stop saying, I'm trying to quit. It doesn't work. It never has. It never will. And the sooner that you can grasp the understanding of this message, the sooner you will be free. Now, many of you will hear this and the light bulb moment will go off and I got it. Like, I know exactly what I need to do. Some of you are going to need to take some steps. Take some steps to get you in the right type of environment to think the necessary things. You see, you don't believe in yourself because nobody in your life has ever spoken into you the belief. You don't know what it is to be a free man because you're 30 years old and you've been watching porn since you were 10. I understand that. So I'm not here to condemn you and shame you and guilt you for not knowing what to do. That's why we give away so much of our stuff for free. Guys, this is episode 193. If you go listen to 192 episodes, everything that is in our program has been shared on this podcast. Everything. But most of you are stuck because of what's going on upstairs, because of the way you think, because of the way you don't think, because of the labels that you use, and the identity that you hold on to yourself. If you want real lasting change, you got to change the way we think, because it changes what we see in the world. Now, like I said, many of you will hear that and you can run with this and make real change in your life. But for most of you, your heart doesn't believe what your mind tells you because you've never actually made the step to invest in yourself. You've never actually made the commitment to yourself. We have an exclusive community. We call it the Brotherhood Redefined. It's part of our Reboot Your Life 2.0 community. We meet weekly to lift each other up, to process issues, to coach each other, to hold each other accountability. I've laid out a 12-week framework on how to walk yourself through an identity transformation. If you want all of this, we let you test drive it for free. There's no obligation to stick around and stay. But you tune into the podcast, you watch the videos, you read the blog articles, you're on Reddit, you're asking your buddy, you're praying with your friend, you're saying, dude, can you hold me accountable? He's not doing it. Guys, if you go to school.com, skool.com/reboot your life, and get a 1-week free trial inside of our group, our community. You can jump on the calls, you can get one-to-one support. You can begin to take action on this thing immediately. And if you like what you see, stick around. It's $67 a month. We'd love to have you part of the group. We'd love to help you create the freedom in your life that you ultimately deserve. And if you don't like it, you cancel. There's no obligation to stay. But school.com, skool.com/reboot your life. Click the link down there below. Check us out. We'd love to have you part of what we're doing here. Pay attention to the language. Pay attention to the words you use. Pay attention to how that is shaping your identity and how it is either empowering you or disempowering you to ultimately get free. Guys, Coach Frank of the Rebuild Man, we love you. We'll see you in the next one.